Hi, I'm Benjamin, and I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since high school. Over the years, my experience has expanded to include systems such as GURPS, Dark Heresy, and Shadowrun. Now, I'm here to make my experience available to you and help you make your games as much fun as possible. Today, we are discussing random generators. So, why use a random generator? Random generators save time. It's really that simple. You can spend hours coming up with dozens of names for NPCs, or you can grab a random generator and spend 10 minutes picking the best ones. You can spend the day mapping out an entire town, or you can use a random generator to add in the points of interest. While the results are never as good as if you had done the work yourself, it allows you to get prep work done at a decent scale in a fraction of the normal time. This is doubly important when you're in the middle of a game and players decide to go off the rails in an unplanned escapade and you need a map of some town they were only supposed to be passing through right now. As a result, having some random generators bookmarked can be a lifesaver if you are forced to improvise due to player actions. As a game master, never be afraid to tell your players, I need a 5-minute break to work out how this will all play out. Naturally, there are some times when a random generator is the right tool for the job, and there are times when it is not. I find the questions to ask are, how much do the specifics matter, and how big is the task? Also, do I have any other tools at my disposal for this? So how much do the specifics matter? That's going to vary from situation to situation. If you're naming a barkeep in an inn with nothing plot relevant planned, then a random generator is probably going to do fine. If you're working out the backstory for a plot critical NPC, it might require more care than just hitting random. Sometimes, time investment is important to consider. While you could absolutely pull a George R.R. Martin and manually name every noble house in the kingdom, working out their entire lineage and history by hand, it'll take a while. A random noble house generator and a random lineage generator will work out the minor houses and potentially save you weeks of work on something that will probably end up just being background anyway. An NPC who suddenly becomes significant, even though you didn't intend it, might need a random background in a hurry. This is fine in the middle of a game, because taking 15 minutes to do it manually would kill the game's momentum. But it might be a worse option at the end of the session, when you've got time to do it properly. In all instances, do not rely on random generators to create content on the fly, unless that is a selling point of the game. An infinite dungeon based on a random generator creating every level when the group descends to the next level is perfectly valid if everyone knows what they're getting into. So let's look at some random generators that most game masters will get at least some use out of. First up, random name generators. A random name generator will spit out random names for a specific culture, race, or whatever it's designed for. It's great for minor NPCs who just get a mention in passing and have no deeper significance to the narrative. Sorry, Farmer Joe, but your kids are getting random names. For something a bit more in depth, there are random NPC generators. These generate not merely a name, but a description and some background. Quite useful for NPCs the players want to interact with, who need a bit of extra fleshing out. In a relatively controlled setting, you can flesh out every NPC with such a description and background to add a feel of depth to the world. For places, you have random dungeon generators and random city generators. Unlike the random name generator, a random dungeon generator is entirely valid as a method of creating a centerpiece dungeon for your dungeon crawl. After all, the results tend to be pretty solid, and you can tweak it to fit your game without too much effort, while dispensing with a lot of the hassle. This is less of a great strategy if you've got some major plot planned, but for a hex crawler or a dungeon crawl, a random dungeon is often fine. A random town or city generator isn't quite the same. Many of those do not create a detailed map house by house, but instead do an overview of districts. This is fine if you want to have an approximate map to show the players, but its utility fades if you need a combat map or a map around a specific building. It still makes for an excellent way to have a general map of the town your players just stumbled into, of course. Finally, you have random world generation. This is a big one. Creating a fully realised fantasy world for your game is hard. Doubly so if you are playing Spelljammer or GURPS Infinite Worlds and your players are likely to jump between worlds. A good random generator can give you a lot of work with at the press of a button. In this example, the map generated includes topography, cities, countries, religions, cultures, counties, roads, and trade routes, military forces, places of interest, rainfall patterns, biomes, temperature bands, politics between nations. You get the idea. If you need a relatively fleshed out world in a hurry, one press of the button and you have one. Links to all the generators shown will be in the description, but that's all for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more content, and join my Patreon. Members get custom render art for their characters, monthly one-shot games run by me, and potentially even get to take part in a full long-term campaign. In any case, keep well and have fun.